You know, there's been a lot of stuff in the news lately about domestic violence, and what's that? Is he Andrew Tate? Ian Tate? There's all sorts of nasty things going around. Anyway, we recently had a lady come and stay with us called Katie, and Katie was a real sweetie. She worked for an animal welfare organisation, and they sent hidden cameras into jobs where animals might be abused to check them out. So she was an absolute sweetie. She arrived at our place and she burst into tears. And Shani said, "Are you okay, honey?" And she said, she cried a lot. And basically what had happened is she had met this Australian tour guide. Is there anyone here who's a tour guide? No, that's good. Anyway, so she met this Australian tour guide, and they communicated through email for a couple of months, and then she'd eventually decided, I better go and see if there's anything happening here. And she came over. The guy picked her up at the airport to tell her that he had a girlfriend. So she'd taken a leave, flown halfway around the world, even had her eyebrows tinted to find out that surely he could have told her before he left. Anyway, so Katie stayed with us for a while. We taught her how to make compost and grow things in the garden. She was lovely. She used to go out dancing to the boot scooting down at Honky Tonk in Fremantle, and they do this thing called the Cadillac Ranch, which is some kind of, I don't know, if you see me at Smoker, I'll give you a little demonstration of how the Cadillac Ranch works. But and she was so happy and vibrant. Anyway, just before she left, I said, "Did you ever see that tour guide again?" And she said, "Well, you taught me to make compost." Yeah. Anyway, this song's called "Don't Mess with Kind-Hearted Katie." She was looking for love, not heartache pity, leaving all those troubles behind her. That low-down mister one day kissed her, next day up rode off with his sister. Probably best if you don't remind her. She did the Cadillac Ranch, had the boys in a trance. That redhead, she's one hell of a lady. She's sweet as a rose, but heed this warning. Every rose has got its thorn. Don't mess with kind-hearted Katie. Ow, 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 ow. Kate's in the garden planting her roses. She's beating something that decomposes. Not time, stop shaking and put. Kate's on a mission, she's had a vision. Scalpel in hand, she makes the incision. She's cutting the ugly out of beauty. Ow. She did the Cadillac Ranch, had the boys in a trance. That redhead, she's one hell of a lady. Sweet as a rose, but heed this warning. Every rose got its thorn, and you don't mess with kind-hearted Katie. Kate cut the rug with noxious snow. That moonlight straw must have taken a toll, 'cause we ain't seen him since that evening. She did the tango with poisonous Pete, then they went for a walk somewhere dim and discreet. Now Pete's gone, but no one breathing. She did the jive with bulletproof ply. We're not too sure if he's still alive. Sure is funny how looks can be deceiving. Katie says roses are best when they're grown in a compost of pure blood and bone. Where she gets that from, we don't ask her. Long as the roses continue to bloom, and there's no badass buckaroos in our saloon. We don't really care about the answer. She did the Cadillac Ranch, had the boys in a trance that ran. Oh, she's one hell of a lady. But for those who might have think Katie had a dark agenda, you better not mess with kind-hearted Katie. If you're a card shark lying in the dark waiting for your next easy mark, you better not mess without Katie. If you're a cattle rustler or a hustler or some badass with a knuckle duster, don't go near the rose gardens, I tell you. Wow, 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 wow. So Katie headed west, silhouetted by the setting sun, to the next badass town, probably Rockingham. She knew there in a dingy back alley she'd find a badass saloon full of badass men, with their beady little eyes, their sharp teeth, their brain addled with alcohol, lots of evil plans of bleeding girls. They'd be just waiting for